So it just happened. Just when it looked like a major international alliance was about to completely fall apart, a last-minute deal has totally rewritten the rules in one of the most strategic places on the entire planet, the Arctic. So what exactly is this deal and why does it matter so much? Okay, let's break it down.
All right, let's just cut right to the chase with the one question that is on literally everyone's mind. Did the United States just buy a piece of Greenland? Well, the answer is kind of complicated, but it's also absolutely fascinating, and we're going to get into exactly what that means right now.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the deal itself. To really get why this is so huge, you have to understand just how close we came to a full-blown crisis. I mean, this alliance was right on the edge.
The big breakthrough happened on January 21, 2026. After weeks of really escalating tension, we're talking public threats of annexation, the White House and NATO leadership suddenly announced this framework of a future deal. Now, this wasn't just some small diplomatic victory. This was a massive de-escalation. It stopped a really serious standoff dead in its tracks.
And the effects? Man, they were immediate. You could feel them right away. Before this agreement, the U.S. was just days away from slapping these punishing tariffs, up to 25% on 8 of its European allies, including Denmark, of course. But after the deal was announced, poof, those tariffs, which were set to hit on February 1st, were completely canceled. A looming trade war inside NATO was called off, just like that.
So, yeah, a crisis was definitely avoided. But how? How did they pull this off? Well, this brings us to the most unique and, frankly, kind of unprecedented part of this whole agreement, this idea of sovereignty in small pockets. This is where we start to really answer that big opening question. The whole compromise hinges on creating what are called sovereign bases. And here's the absolutely critical distinction. This isn't leased land, like most overseas military bases are. No, this is land that would legally be United States sovereign territory. Think of it like the UK's long-standing sovereign bases in Cyprus. It's that same idea. It's not rented, it's owned.
And this table here, it just lays out the difference perfectly. You look at a standard leased base, right? The host nation, in this case Denmark, is still in charge, the lease has an end date, and Danish law is what matters. But with a sovereign base in Greenland, it's the complete opposite. You're talking full U.S. control, forever. It's perpetual, and U.S. law applies. This is a fundamental, game-changing shift.
But this whole thing wasn't just about military bases and drawing lines on a map. You have to ask why. Why did the U.S. push so hard for such a wild arrangement? Well, a massive piece of that puzzle is what we're calling the mineral rights prize.
Under this new framework, the U.S. gets some huge economic wins. We're talking about the right to actually mine minerals in Greenland and, this is key, sell them directly back into the American market. But the real target here, the bullseye, is Greenland's enormous deposits of rare earth minerals. You know, the stuff that's essential for everything from your smartphone to our most advanced defense systems. The U.S. government sees access to those as a critical matter of national security.
But look, this deal was even bigger than just economics. There's another huge piece to this puzzle. It was also a lifeline for the NATO alliance itself, which, let's be honest, was facing one of the most serious internal crises it had seen in decades.
I mean, let's be real clear here. A trade war between NATO's most powerful country and its key allies, that's a direct threat to the entire alliance. So this deal, it was a crucial way for everyone to save face. It gave all sides an off-ramp. The US got a major strategic win, and the European allies got to avoid those damaging tariffs. It was a compromise that basically held the whole thing together.
So, okay, we've got the economics and we've got the alliance politics, but now let's zoom all the way out. Let's look at the ultimate long-term reason for this deal, the new Arctic chessboard. This is all about securing a permanent American foothold in a region that is getting more crowded and more contested with each passing year. And that foothold? It has a very clear purpose. The plan is to integrate Greenland into America's Golden Dome missile defense shield. I mean, just look at a map. Geographically, Greenland sits right on the shortest flight path for missiles traveling between Russia and North America. It's critical defensive real estate. So these bases aren't just about watching Russia and China, they are a platform for claiming a new strategic high ground in the world. So there you have it. It looks like a huge strategic win for Washington, right? They secured resources, they stabilized NATO, and they locked down a powerful military position for the future. But as this deal goes from a framework to a hard reality, there's one voice that seems to be missing in all this geopolitical math. And that leaves us with the biggest and maybe the most important unanswered question of all.
What in the world is this going to mean for the 56,000 people who actually call Greenland home?